mind-boggling comes to mind when talking about this September's real estate in and around Calgary. It was certainly a September to remember. Tune in for the complete update. All right, welcome back to another Calgary Real Estate Market update with us on Redline TV. I'm Darren Langell, one of the founders here at Redline, and of course your host for these monthly market updates. In this video, I'll be summarizing the key results from the month of September 2021. So let's not waste another minute. September, in and around Calgary, was once again on fire. More specifically, we just completed our second best September of all time. Yeah, only 2005 had a stronger September than we just had. Now we finished with 2,162 sales for the month, which was actually 11 more homes than we did back in August. This was also a 27% increase from last year, and an even bigger jump from both 2018 and 19. So here is, once again, the Calgary Real Estate Board graph showcasing the last 15 years. Here you will see just how extreme this September was when doing this broader comparison. It's a wow, a pure wow September. Now this resulted in another continued sales per day pace above 70, a pace that hasn't slowed at all since all the way back to early July. In fact, it even increased slightly here in September up to 72. Now you'll see in this next graph, this shows the year-to-date sales we've achieved throughout all of 2021. Here on this graph, you will once again notice how incredible all of 2021 has been in relation to basically our entire recent memory. The only year in the last 10 with more year-to-date total sales was back to our previous peak at 2014. Now, all property types are again acting a little differently, but it's all positive. Detached and row homes, their sales increased nearly 20% over last year. Now, semis had a 37% year-over-year improvement. And the best improvement year-over-year in September was actually the apartment segment. It saw a whopping 51% increase in its sales. Calgary again recorded about 3/4 of the overall sales in our total region. So let's now speak about what happened in those other minor markets. Airdrie achieved 166 total sales. It was a little small drop from last month, but we're still about the same as it was last year. Cochrane had 97 sales, which is an increase from last month and a big 37% bump over 2020. Chestermere had 45 sales and another increase, 22% over last year. And finally, Okotoks had 54 total sales, which is the only one, but it dropped 11% from 2020. Now, as you go from region to region, you will find they are performing vastly different in sales. But also, as we're about to discuss, inventory and price too. So you will want to be sure when making your buying and selling decisions, you're being well advised with somebody that is aware of the local market. Okay, as always, let's talk about our inventory story. Once again, but as expected, we're seeing inventory start to fall. We started this month with 6,053 homes on the market. And now we finished September with only 5,607. We started this month with 7% less than the year prior, and now we sit down to 10% less than last year. So the inventory is falling quicker than in our previous year. The reason is, as we discussed above, sales are pushing at this continued, still midsummer's pace. And as you look at this again, 15-year Careb graph, you'll see we are now sitting with our lowest total active inventory as we complete third quarter since all the way back to 2014. Now, just like last month, we did see more listings come to the market than in 2020 throughout the month, but it's nowhere near enough to cause any sort of inventory gain. Here is the various property type breakdowns again for you. Detached homes have the lowest inventory position, sitting with 19% off of last year's numbers. Semis are next with 13% less, row homes with 8% less. And despite the apartments having a great year-over-year sales gain. Here in September, it is still sitting with 5% more inventory than we did last year. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the surrounding markets are all acting differently as well. So here is that quick breakdown. Airdrie, it saw a net decrease in inventory down to 237 from last month, still 36% less than a year ago. Cochrane, it also saw a net drop down to about 115 active properties, nearly a 50% drop in inventory from just a year ago. Chestermere only has 86 places on the market and a drop of 29%. And Okotoks sits with 82, a substantial 44% decline. So again, because of the low inventory in the satellite markets to Calgary, they're fully in a seller's market. Be sure you're aware of this if you are actively buying or selling. Your strategy, it will need to be specific to your market. Okay, lastly, let's get into the pricing picture. September's benchmark sales price was $457,900. This remains 8.6% increase over last year, so continued great news. But just like last month, we did slide a little. But this is simply what happens every year seasonally as the market slows from its peak spring months. Here is that property type breakdown for you again. Detached, it saw a 10% increase. Semi-detached, well, it saw a 8.4% increase. Row homes with a 7% gain. And then our apartments with the most modest one with simply a 1% increase. Here is a graph that shows how this has changed across the various districts in the city once again. Again, due to the high number of apartments in the city center, it's experiencing the lowest overall price gain. But depending on your property type, you will want to learn the exact specifics for your specific real estate needs. A detached home in the city center will not be experiencing gains that low. And apartments, well, maybe a fair bit less. So take this as your kind of high level viewpoint only, please. Now, like last month, which turned out to be a very popular graph, I want to show the price changes for the detached markets in the surrounding areas as well. Now, up north of us, you'll see that Airdrie is seeing a 14% year-over-year price growth. But then when you look all the way south, you'll see High River is sitting with just 5.7. So again, be very certain you're reviewing data with your local realtor about your local specifics. The high point here for September looks to be over to our west, with a year-over-year price gain of 16.4% in Canmore. Wow. Okay, now as a final summary for you today. What does all this really mean for us anyways? Well, let me pull up this little graph for you to review. What you will see here is that the red trended line and then my subsequent red arrow, they're pointing downwards. This graph is showing our overall months of inventory. When the months of inventory is dropping, as the arrow suggests, it means that the total pace of sales is actually increasing. Right now, based on how sales continue to blister along, and with our inventory dropping quite rapidly, it's continuing to put Calgary and area into a fast-paced real estate environment. Now, a seller's market is typically, for those that don't know, a months of supply value below 3. And as a whole, we sit right now at 2.59. So it looks like as if we will have a very tight Q4 here in 2021. If you're a buyer, you'll need to continue to be ready to pull that trigger quickly. If it's a well-priced home or even a slightly overpriced home, you could end up in multiple offers, as we have been dealing with all year long. Now, if you're a seller, don't get greedy here as you hear this though. The band of price points before you shoot yourself in the foot and end up out of the market isn't too far from fair market value. So keep doing what you've done all year. Price fair. Know that those buyers are out there and you will get a good offer soon and you'll be well on your way to your next life plan. Don't. Oh, well, you'll continue to wait and watch the market pass you by. All right, well, that's it. I hope that has helped. You know, all of us at Redline are here for you no matter your home type, location, or price range. Please reach out to be connected with one of our specialists for your needs. Thank you once again for watching yet another market update at Redline Real Estate. It's been a pleasure to provide this to you, and see you next month.